Welcome to Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your SmackDown 205 Live and your WWE main event results for the week of August the 7th, 2020. Birthdays: August 5th, Pat Tanaka, 1961. August 6th birthdays, you got Dino Bravo, 1949. Tony Nese, 1985. August the 7th birthdays, Marty Bell, 1988. August the 8th birthdays, Rena Sable Mero. Was actually should be Brock Lesnar's wife, 1967, and Shayna Baszler, 1980. To finish off the birthdays, former women's MMA star turned actress Gina Carano may be looking to make an appearance for WWE. Carano took to Twitter and commented on the backstage segment with the Golden Role Models and Baszler. She noted that she now wants to attend her first WWE event, and she's also a fan of both Banks and Baszler, but not Bayley. And just like that, I want to attend my first at WWE Universe event at Sasha Banks WWE at QOS Baszler. Heart emoji, two of my favorites. Carano wrote. Banks first fired back and said that she wants to give Carano a beatdown, adding that the former MMA fighter wouldn't last in the WWE Universe. And just like that, I want to whoop your butt, too. You wouldn't last in my universe, but you're welcome to try. Smiling face with horns emoji. Hashtag 2 belts Banks. Banks responded. Carano just responded back to Banks' threat this evening with a gift, which you can see, but I didn't get the picture or the link. Baszler also responded to Carano's tweet and ignored her MMA career, referring to her as actress only. Baszler wrote, "One of my fave Star Wars characters." This was a reference to Carano having a role in The Mandalorian, the live-action Star Wars series, where she played the Cara Dune character. There were rumors on Carano possibly working with WWE a few years ago and at the height of her MMA popularity, but nothing ever came of the rumors. Carano has not fought since August 15th, 2009, which was the fight against Cyborg to crown the inaugural Strikeforce Women's lightweight champion. Carano lost that fight at 4 minutes 59 seconds of the first round by TKO. She has an MMA record of 7 wins and 1 loss. Carano stated in 2014 that she was considering an MMA return, and former WWE and UFC star Ronda Rousey later revealed that a fight between the two had been planned for December 2014, but never happened. The 4th episode of our Truth Game Show can be found in this link. The new episode features host R-Truth with contestants Roman Reigns and Drake Maverick. A preview clip in that link. The episode will air on WWE Network live stream at 8 p.m. By now, by the time I get the video uploaded, it'll already be done. A new Best of WWE special also went live on the WWE Network at 1 p.m. The special runs for 3 hours and 50 minutes, featuring the best of Jeff Hardy and WWE. A new series will premiere on the WWE Network this coming weekend. WWE Timeline will premiere at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on demand, and then at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the live feed. Premiere episode is titled Whatever It Takes, and we'll take a look at the rivalry between The Miz and Daniel Bryan. Austin Theory, who was last seen on Monday Night Raw as one of Seth Rollins' disciples, has reportedly been suspended by WWE, according to Dave Messer of the Wrestling Observer. With Theory off TV for nearly 2 months now, there was speculation that 23-year-old had tested positive for COVID-19. However, Meltzer tweeted Monday night that WWE had suspended Theory and did not make an announcement on a suspension. While replying to a fan asking Theory's whereabouts, Meltzer wrote, "Unannounced suspension of sort." Meltzer did not provide any details as to the reason for the suspension. Earlier this year, several reports noted that Theory was in a line for a big push on the main roster. After debuting on Raw as a member of Zelina Vega's stable, Theory defected to Rollins' stable and became one of Monday Night Messiah's disciples. As reported earlier, Theory was surprised to receive a quick call-up from NXT to Raw, and then to WrestleMania 36, where he competed in a Raw Tag Team Championship match. Theory has not wrestled a match since the WWE main event taping on June 17th. He was last seen on Monday Night Raw on June 8th when he teamed up with Murphy to face Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo. There were scheduled changes made at Tuesday's WWE tapings from the Performance Center in Orlando, according to Dave Meltzer of F4W Online. So he does his Wrestling Observer Radio and the Wrestling Observer and F4W Online, several sites. The changes were reportedly brought on by issues regarding organization. WWE taped just one episode of SmackDown instead of two, and that one episode will air, as you will hear the results. From Fox. To make up for the change, the scheduled Monday, August 17th taping for Raw was moved to Thursday, August the 13th. WWE now will tape the Friday, August 14th SmackDown show and the August 17th Raw show on August 13th. The August 13th taping will take place one day after the WWE NXT tapings on August 12th. As a result, many of the people involved will have to stay in Orlando for an extra day. WWE still needs to add a taping date for Friday, August 21st, SmackDown date that originally was scheduled to be taped August 17th. WWE taped this week's Raw on August 10th. Raw was past Monday, and the situation backstage was said to be more chaotic than usual due to the constant changing. As you see on SmackDown, there was still some chaos. A big triple brand battle royal has been announced for next Friday SmackDown on Fox episode to determine who will challenge WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Bayley for her SmackDown Women's title at SummerSlam. Chief Brand Officer Stephanie McMahon appeared on video on SmackDown to confront Bayley and her partner. That was also on Raw. As Raw Women's Champion Sasha Banks, Stephanie talks about Banks defending at SummerSlam, noting that her opponent may be Asuka if Asuka can win the non-title qualifier match over Bayley on Monday's Raw. Stephanie then announced that there will be a triple brand battle royal next Friday night. So could that be like 30 superstars or just 15? 5 from each brand. Stay tuned for next week's show. Well, some of the enemies that the Golden Role Models have made in recent months of WWE, NXT, Raw, and SmackDown brands. WWE has not announced any of the superstars that will be in the Triple Threat Battle Royal or how many entries will be there. If it was me, I would put the 10, where's the 10? Make it a 30-man Battle Royal. And if I find out more, then you'll know. You'll be the first to know. 2020 WWE SummerSlam pay-per-view is scheduled for August 23rd, and location will be announced soon. Probably the PC. And after that is supposed to be live shows again. New speculation of WWE producer Tyson Kidd possibly returning to the ring. Can be seen at this link. Running the ropes with Natalya, his wife. Kidd and Natalya both posted a photo of Kidd in the WWE ring this week. Natalya also took to her Instagram with that with that video and posted the video of Kidd running the ropes, working in the ring. This led to immediate fan speculation on a possible return to action for the WWE Tag Team Champion. And the photo can be found at this link. Kidd was forced to retire after suffering a career-ending neck injury in 2015. After all, didn't Edge suffer a career-ending neck injury? Well, Kidd could be coming back too. Kidd has worked as WWE producer since 2017. As mentioned, Kidd noted on Twitter in June that he will never return to the ring and that he's at peace with that. There was a May interview that Kidd stated where he detailed his WWE role, retirement, and more. After all, how many times has Ric Flair said he was retiring and never had? Oh, The Rock and business partners are now able to move forward with the purchase of Vince McMahon's XFL Football League. As I noted in Monday's news and video, Rock, along with business partner Danny Garcia and Redbird Capital, recently began to purchase of the XFL for $15 million. However, XFL creditors filed a motion to stop the purchase. In an update, the acquisition was approved in a Delaware bankruptcy court on Friday morning, according to Kevin Safer of ESPN. U.S. District Judge Laurie Silverstein has allowed the transaction to move forward after the XFL resolved the dispute over the $15 million sale price for the Committee of Unsecured Creditors. The Rock and his partners will officially take control of the XFL from McMahon later this month. They have formed an LLC to run the league called Alpha Aquico. It was noted that the sale also includes $9 million in payment of cure amounts. There were more than 30 individuals or groups who indicated initial interest in the XFL sale, but Rock and his group submitted the only qualifying bid. The league canceled a planned auction scheduled for Monday and then awarded the league to Alpha Aquico. XFL President and CEO Jeffrey Pollock hailed the sale to former associates of McMahon as a Hollywood ending to the process. The Rock and his partners are planning to launch the new season of XFL in 2021. Unknown date. We're doing all the steps that need to be happening for the execution of that, Garcia said. But we're also being mindful to what has actually been successful. It has been really interesting to see that in sports, when you create a bubble, your players are safe. When you don't, it's chaos. We are a league because of the number of teams we have that actually can create a bubble environment. Those discussions are active. Garcia said she and Rock will have a hands-on approach to running the XFL. She will have an executive position with the league. Vince first folded the XFL back in 2001 after one season. He brought it back this year, and then the league found some success before being forced to close again due to the negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic. The league averaged 1.9 million TV viewers per game this season, generated nearly $20 million in gross revenues this year. According to court filings, it had projected $46 million in gross revenues for the 10-game relaunch season this year, with each data point reportedly exceeding internal expectations. As I briefly said, WWE is reportedly planning to resume live TV shows after SummerSlam. Reported and confirmed by Russell Votes that the new plan is to restart live TV programming beginning with the WWE SummerSlam Go Home edition of SmackDown. So that's before SummerSlam. No word yet on if fans will be at live shows, as this was described as still to be determined. The location for the live SmackDown, SummerSlam, and Raw is also up in the air, but it's noted that there will be one location for all three events. It's been reported that WWE is looking at three others holding SummerSlam in the Northeast somewhere, Atlantic City and New Jersey, Florida coast. So that's one unknown and two Atlantic City in New Jersey and Florida coast. Well, they're already in Orlando. Regarding the WWE NXT TakeOver 30 event scheduled for SummerSlam weekend on Saturday, August 22nd, new report notes that it will still be taking place at the NXT Arena on the campus of Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida, right next to Orlando. There is no word yet on if TakeOver will air live or on a slight tape delay as usual. WWE has taped weekly shows without fans since the COVID-19 pandemic hit in March. There has been talk of resuming regular events outside Florida sometime this fall, but that has not been confirmed. Well, I know it won't be in Louisiana anytime this year. Vince McMahon has reportedly lost interest in a Raw superstar, Mustafa Ali, despite the plan to push the superstar only months ago, as he was predicted to be the hacker. Ali was rumored to be revealed as the abandoned hacker storyline prior to appearing on Monday Night Raw. He returned to in-ring competition with a six-man tag team victory, giving him some momentum upon his comeback. Following that win, however, Ali would lose to Hurt Business member Bobby Lashley. Although Ali was not featured on Raw this week, he did participate in a losing effort against Riddick Moss on WWE main event. SmackDown aired from a Performance Center in Orlando. Stephanie McMahon spoke to Sasha Banks and Bayley about Triple Brand Battle Royal for next week, and the winner will face Bayley for the SmackDown Championship at SummerSlam. Also, Retribution invaded SmackDown at the end of the show, where the main event was Otis and Tucker versus Sonya Deville in the corner and Miz and Morrison. Main event opening video kicks off after the usual WWE signature. Humberto Carrillo makes his entrance as Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips checks on commentary. Arturo Ruas makes his entrance. Humberto versus Arturo. Ruas drives Carrillo in the corner, goes for the leg of Carrillo, and slams him to the mat. Later in the match, Carrillo kicks Ruas in the face from the ring apron. Carrillo ascends the turnbuckles. Carrillo hits crossbody on Ruas. Carrillo then pins Ruas for a 2 count. Carrillo connects with a spinning kick on Ruas. Carrillo then gets Ruas up on the shoulders. Carrillo drops Ruas forward onto the mat and pins him for the win. Then a recap of SmackDown will show featuring Women's Tag Team Champion Bayley defeating Nikki Cross to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. Recap of SmackDown again featuring The Fiend, Bray Wyatt attacking Alexa Bliss. Recap of Raw will show featuring the verbal confrontation between Randy Orton and WWE Champion Drew McIntyre. Mustafa Ali and Riddick Moss make their entrance for their match. Ali briefly locks in a waist lock on Moss. Moss tosses Ali to the mat. They lock up. Moss backs Ali in the corner. Moss hits a hip toss on Ali. Ali eventually hits a face buster on Moss. Ali pins Moss for a 2 count. Ali begins to ascend to the turnbuckles. Moss pulls Ali's leg out, causing him to fall to the mat. Moss goes for the screw slam. Ali escapes it. Moss runs towards Ali in the corner. Ali elbows Moss in the face. Ali jumps to the second turnbuckle. Ali hits the tornado DDT from off the second rope on Moss. Ali goes to the top turnbuckle, goes for the 450 splash. Moss rolls out of the way. Moss hits a modified neck breaker on Ali and pins him for the 3 count. Recap SmackDown show featuring Sonya Deville assaulting Mandy Rose backstage and with a haircut. A recap of Raw was shown to close the show, featuring Dominic Mysterio brawling with Seth Rollins and Murphy. SmackDown, quick results. Matt Riddle defeated Sheamus by disqualification. Cesaro defeated Les Serrano. Jeff Hardy defeated King Corbin by disqualification. Sheamus defeated King Corbin. The Heavy Machinery versus Miz and Morrison ended in a DQ. And here's the actual happening. They started off the show with a video from the recent swamp fight between Universal Champion Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, which ended in the Fiend returning. We didn't see Wyatt's warming up the Firefly Funhouse last week, where he said no one is safe, and then the Fiend's attack on Alexa Bliss after last Friday's main event. We go to a new episode of Firefly Funhouse with Bray Wyatt. Wyatt welcomes everyone. He needs to address how a bunch of haters have been trying to slide into his DMs and blame him for what happened to Alexa Bliss last week. Wyatt points up at the picture of WWE Universal Champion Braun Strowman on the wall that says, "That's who you can put the blame on." He asked Strowman how he could let something happen to something so precious he cares about. Wyatt says Strowman should give him what he wants. Wyatt says he will be here tonight. He will be here tonight, and someone very special. Wyatt says he's waiting for Braun, and Wyatt advises Strowman he should give the Fiend what he wants or find out what he's truly capable of. We see flashes of the Fiend. Wyatt is all serious while talking about the Fiend, but he suddenly snaps out of it and goes back to laughing and saying he gets the heebie-jeebies just thinking about the Fiend. Wyatt waves goodbye in the segment. And that was the first Firefly Funhouse segment. Live from tape delay from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, Winter Park. Michael Cole welcomes us to the show. Joined in by the tattoo champion of the world, Corey Graves. We see the developmental trainee cheering in the crowd behind the plexiglass barrier. Matt Riddle versus Sheamus starts off the show. We go right to the ring. Out comes Matt Riddle first. Sheamus is out next. We see footage of King Corbin and his King's ransom that he tried to find someone to take Riddle out as of late. Back and forth start the match. Sheamus strikes first, but Riddle blocks the submission. They trade submissions. Riddle comes back with a big takedown. Riddle with a kick. Riddle goes for another, but Sheamus grabs him and goes to the ropes as the referee warns him. They tangle again, and Sheamus drops Riddle with a knee to the gut. Sheamus unloads on Riddle while he's down. Sheamus keeps Riddle grounded by his arm now. The crowd rallies as Riddle fights up and out. Riddle unloads with strikes and takes Sheamus down into an armbar. They tangle on the mat, and Sheamus kicks out too. Sheamus powers out and overpowers Riddle for a big powerbomb in the middle ring. Sheamus with strikes against the ropes. Riddle avoids an Irish whip, curves backbreaker, and sends Sheamus to the apron. Sheamus clubs Riddle by the back of his neck and then drops him. Sheamus picks Riddle up by his neck again, still on the apron, and unloads with a 10 forearm shots. Sheamus goes to the top, but Riddle jumps back and charges, knocking Sheamus from the top turnbuckle to the floor. Sheamus lands hard on the outside as we go to commercial. Back from the commercial, Sheamus continues to wear Riddle down. Riddle charges, but Sheamus catches him with an Irish curse backbreaker. In the ring, that is. Sheamus goes on and hits 2 more Irish curse backbreakers, 3 in a row. Sheamus keeps Riddle grounded on the mat now as the crowd rallies. More back and forth. Riddle finally drops Sheamus with a big kick to the head to get an opening. The barefooted kick. They both get up and Riddle unloads. Riddle kicks Sheamus back and then hits a big kick to the face. Riddle with more offense in the corner. Riddle with a big exploder suplex from the corner. A running kick to the face and a Broton for a close 2 count. Riddle with another Broton while Sheamus is down. Sheamus goes to the top for the floating bro, but has to roll through as Sheamus moves. Sheamus comes right back with a white noise, but Riddle kicks out of 2. Sheamus showing frustration. More back and forth. in the middle of the ring. Riddle goes for the running knee, but Sheamus dodges it and rolls him up for a 2 count. Sheamus catches Riddle with an Irish curse again. Sheamus charges in the corner. He hits the ring post, shoulder first, and falls out to the floor. Riddle follows as the referee counts. He unloads with kicks to Sheamus. Sheamus blocks and drops him with a knee to the jaw. Sheamus makes it back in the ring. And here comes Riddle, but Shorty G runs out from the back and drops him from behind at ringside for the DQ finish. After the bell, the boos get louder as G beats on Riddle at ringside. G is here to collect on the King Corbin's ransom for Riddle. Riddle fights back and rocks G. Riddle runs and leaps off the announce table, taking G down with a big punch. Riddle slams G's face into the announce table over and over. Riddle launches G into the steel ring steps now, then delivers a big kick to the chest while he's down. The referee announces Riddle as winner. It raises Riddle's arm up on the outside, the ringside. As Sheamus is looking on from inside the ring, Sheamus is not happy. Riddle dances around the ringside area and heads up the ramp. Sheamus grabs G and brings him back in the ring. G stands up and turns around as Sheamus delivers a big brogue kick for a pop. Sheamus takes the mic and rants at G for messing up his match. All for Corbin's bounty. Sheamus taunts and talks more trash, yelling at G to get back up. Sheamus tosses the mic and waits for G again. Furious Sheamus levels G with a second brogue kick and leaves for boos as music hits. So to come segment, the feed is here. Will Braun Strowman confront him over Alexa Bliss? Still to come, Sonya Deville on the dirt sheet as a special correspondent for the Miz and John Morrison. Back to commercial. Back for the break, Sheamus confronts King Corbin backstage. Corbin was in the middle of offering to show a woman named Sarah around. Sheamus threatens Corbin to beat him up and shove his throne and knock his head off his shoulders. If someone tries to get the King's ransom during one of his matches again, Sheamus tells Corbin to try it. Corbin says he would put a dent in Sheamus' head if he wasn't busy with Jeff Hardy tonight. Corbin walks off. We go back to the ring for the return of the dirt sheet with John Morrison and The Miz. They welcome us and they show us how Sonya Deville attacked Mandy Rose last week. Miz and Morrison have technical difficulties with their mics. As the lights also flicker a few times, they joke that the Retribution wasn't booked for SmackDown tonight. They go on about using the platform to give a platform to a victim who was attacked last week. They play Mandy's music, but it's Mandy Rose's hair instead. And they both do like puppets. Talk from the side of their mouth, you know how that is. Both Morrison and Miz. Talking hairpiece appears on the big screen. They do a bunch of comedy mocking Rose and her hair. They appear to actually give the real Mandy a chance to speak now, but they bring out Sonya Deville instead. Deville goes on about how it's not a big deal what she did to Rose because she told everyone what she was going to do ahead of time. And she's a woman who keeps her word. She talks about enjoying the hair cutting and messing up Rose's makeup. She goes on and says she has no respect for Rose anymore. Deville says Rose is so weak. She brags about breaking up Rose in the ring and now emotionally. The crowd boos and Rose says that they're a terrible crowd. They go on booing and Deville gets angry, daring Rose to come out and correct her if she's wrong. Miz and Morrison point to how we haven't heard from Rose since the attack. And she hasn't posted any selfies. Morrison says, we all know how much she loves doing that. Deville brings up how Rose won an award on the bump for making out with Otis. Deville says Rose won an award for making out with a dude. She's just going to leave that there. They all start insulting Mandy and Otis. Music erupts, out comes heavy machinery. Tucker and Otis with his Money in the Bank briefcase. Hit the ring, they start brawling with Miz and Morrison. Miz gets sent out to the floor. They go to double team Morrison as Otis prepares to hit him with the Caterpillar. Morrison is able to retreat and hit the floor, joining the Bill and Miz on the floor. They regroup as Otis and Tucker stand tall in the ring. Back to commercial. Next match, we got Cesaro versus Lince Dorado. Back from the break, out comes the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Cesaro with Shinsuke. Lucha House Party is out next. Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik. Greg Hamilton does ring introductions, and we get a sidebar video from earlier with Dorado and Metalik talking about showing Cesaro how to party tonight. Back and forth to start the match. Cesaro easily takes control and drops Dorado. Dorado tries to power up, but Cesaro closes at him. Dorado ends up sending Cesaro out. The lights flicker again, and Graves jokes about retribution. Dorado runs the ropes and leaps out, but Cesaro catches him. Dorado counters and stands on a barrier. He leaps off with Hurricanrana, sending Cesaro into the apron. Dorado brings him back in, ring, and they tangle. Dorado rocks Cesaro with a kick, but Dorado flies out, and Cesaro catches him in mid-move. Cesaro with a backbreaker for a 2 count. Cesaro keeps Dorado grounded in the middle ring now, working him over. Cesaro with a 2 count. As he shows frustration now, can't get a 3. The crowd rallies as Cesaro grounds Dorado again. Dorado fights up and out, more back and forth again. Dorado catches Cesaro with a big springboard stunner for a pop. Dorado with a moonsault from the bottom rope, then the middle rope. Dorado goes for a third moonsault, but Nakamura runs and interferes from the apron. Dorado swings and Nakamura goes back to the floor, but Cesaro takes advantage and turns it around. Cesaro goes for a big razor's edge powerbomb, but Dorado counters and takes him down for a 2 count. Cesaro quickly takes back control with an uppercut. Nails the gotcha neutralizer in the middle of the ring for the pin and the win. After the match, Nakamura joins Cesaro in the ring, and they stand tall with the titles as the music plays. As Metallic also comes on the ring, and they do nothing. He just helps them out of the ring. Coleslaw confirms the Miz and Morrison versus the Heavy Machinery for later. And that's your main event. Tucker and Otis are backstage out, and Otis is fired up. Kayla Braxton approaches for comments as she asks if he can channel his anger for tonight's match. Otis says they crossed the line with the so-called jokes about Mandy Rose on the dirt sheet. Tucker says what Sonya Deville did last week was despicable, and Miz and Morrison just won't let it go. Otis says he can take jokes all day, but he won't stand for jokes against his peach, Mandy. Otis says Miz and Morrison will see that no one is laughing after tonight as they walk off. The second Firefly Funhouse segment intro starts playing, but it stops and turns into a warning for the Fiend as the lights go out in the arena. The Fiend's own music starts up, and the red lights and lasers fall all over the arena. Inside the ring, the Fiend Bray Wyatt heads to the ring as the Bazaar entrance plays. We go to commercial. Back from the break, Fiend is in the ring. Red lights still covering the ring, and menacing sound is playing over and over. Alexa Bliss is down on the mat. Suddenly, the spotlight is shown on her. The Fiend stands over her, and she looks up frightened. Momentarily, the Fiend backs up and crawls to Bliss out. The Fiend slowly raises his arm like he did last week for the mandible claw. He looks to deliver another mandible claw, but this time, Bliss grabs his arm and stops him. She looks up, grabs his arm, brings his face down, but the Fiend stops her and backs off. As she was about to make out with him, she had her lips puckered. Apparently, frustration with how she's getting to him. Universal Champion Braun Strowman appears on the big screen now as Wyatt backs off from Bliss. No more Bliss. I guess she's gone from the segment. Yeah, she wasn't shown the rest of the segment. Strowman doesn't give a dang about Bliss. He just wants the Fiend. Strowman goes on about how different he is coming out on the Swamp Fight. Strowman says, since the Fiend is in the ring, he's looking at the most evil son of a B word that the world has laid eyes on. Strowman tried to resist and fight it, but he's at his breaking point. What has been building inside of him is coming out. The evil. Strowman goes on, talking like some kind of monster now. He says he is more than a man. He is the thing that nightmares are made of. He is the monster. Strowman says that the Fiend can have whatever he wants at SummerSlam. Strowman tells the Fiend to face his fears. Face the monster. Strowman continues breathing heavily as the Fiend looks on from the ring. Apparently, in approval, we get the flashes of the Fiend on the screen as SmackDown goes commercial. Jeff Hardy versus King Corbin. Back for the break. Out comes Hardy first. Boos start up as King Corbin makes his way out. Bell rings and they go at it. Hardy blocks a big punch. Hits an inverted atomic drop. Hardy unloads, but Corbin fights back. Hardy drops Corbin with a running forearm. Hardy with another atomic drop and a double leg takedown. Hardy with some of his own signature moves and a splash for a 2 count in the middle of the ring. The crowd rallies, but Corbin rocks Hardy in the throat. Corbin unloads and blocks the twist of fate. Corbin comes right back with a clothesline for a 2 count. Corbin works Hardy over as the crowd rallies again. Corbin launches Hardy out to the floor in front of the announcers. Corbin follows and beats Hardy on top of the announce table, unloading with punches to the face as the crowd boos. Corbin brings him back in the ring and gets a 2 count. Corbin grounds Hardy and unloads with elbows. Corbin keeps Hardy down in a submission move. Hardy fights up and out, but Corbin takes it right back down to the mat. Hardy fights back up, but Corbin sends him to the corner. Corbin goes out and right back in. Now you know how to circle around the ring post. As Hardy is waiting, sending him back into the barrier. Hardy unloads on the outside and brings it back in. Hardy charges, but Corbin catches him with a deep 6 for a close 2 count. Hardy blocks off the end of days and keeps fighting. Corbin shuts him down with a big knee, knocking Hardy back out to the floor. Sheamus suddenly appears at ringside and decks Hardy in the face with a brogue kick out of nowhere. Fans boo as the referee calls for a DQ. Winner of the match, Jeff Hardy. After the bell, Corbin gets out and argues with Sheamus at ringside as Hardy's music hits. The referee gets in between Sheamus and Corbin arguing back to commercial. And that match is made during a commercial break. Back to the break, the match is already underway as Sheamus balls in the ring with King Corbin. Sheamus rocks Corbin, but Corbin comes right back with a big boot. Sheamus drops Corbin with a knee to the gut. Corbin tries to get to the floor for a breather, but Sheamus pulls him back up to the apron and goes for a series of forearms. Corbin gets free and goes to the floor. Sheamus runs around the ring, but Corbin levels him on the floor. The referee starts counting. Corbin launches Sheamus into a barrier now. Corbin unloads with body shots and gets the barrier. Corbin slams Sheamus' face into the announce table a few times, then brings it back in the ring. Sheamus rocks Corbin with a knee as soon as he enters. Sheamus closes down with Corbin right back to the floor as the crowd rallies. Apparently, Sheamus is now face character. Sheamus goes out and sends Corbin into the plexiglass down. Sheamus sends Corbin face first into the announce table. Sheamus keeps control and runs Corbin's shoulder first into the ring post now. Sheamus keeps control and keeps Corbin down and talks some trash. Sheamus brings it back in and goes up top to the top rope. He leaps to Corbin ducks. Corbin comes right back with a side slam for a 2 count in the middle of the ring. Corbin immediately mounts Sheamus with the right hand. Corbin drives Sheamus' shoulder first into the turnbuckles now. Corbin then mounts Sheamus from behind into the corner and pounds on him as aggressive action continues between the two. Corbin drops Sheamus with the right hand in the middle of the ring. Sheamus gets back up to his feet, but Corbin ragdolls him right back to the mat, grounding him. Sheamus tries to get back up, but Corbin slams him down from one knee. Sheamus claws at Corbin's eye and tries to break free, but Corbin keeps him down. Graves and Cole try to remember the last time someone manhandled Sheamus like this. Sheamus finally powers up, but Corbin hangs onto his back and keeps control. Corbin levels Sheamus once again with a clothesline. Matt Riddle suddenly comes out of nowhere and springboards into the ring. Corbin ducks him, and Riddle goes right back out of the ring. Sheamus immediately takes advantage of the distraction, and drops Corbin with a brogue kick for the pin and the win. After the bell, Sheamus hits the corner to pose as music plays. Riddle applauds from ringside. We go to replays. Corbin tries to recover on the mat as Riddle continues applauding Sheamus. After the bell, Sheamus hits the corner to pose as the music hits. Okay, I'm done. Do that again. We go backstage to the Women's Tag Team Champions. Raw Women's Champion, Sasha Banks, SmackDown Women's Champion, Bayley. There seems to be some tension over Bayley's match with Asuka. On Monday's Raw, for Asuka to earn a SummerSlam shot against Banks. Banks says Bayley got this, and she most importantly needs Bayley to do this for her. They argue over what Asuka wants, payback on Banks for the title, or payback on Bayley for what she did to Kairi Sane. Banks interrupts Bayley and says it doesn't matter what Asuka wants. This is all about them because they have all the gold. They are best friends and role models. A Sapper interrupts and says they are needed in the ring for a video conference with Stephanie McMahon. Banks acts a bit concerned, but Bayley says they got this. They're fine. Back to commercial. Back for the break. Kayla's backstage with Big E. She asks what his next video looks like going on his own, while Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are sidelined. Big E then gets hyped up and says he's not sure where this run will go, but he can assure that he will give all of himself because he waits for Kayla to finish it New Day Raw for him a few times, and Big E gets more hyped to end the segment. We go back to the ring, and we see the tag team champions in the ring. Chief Brand Officer Stephanie McMahon appears on the big screen, and they welcome her. Stephanie thanks Banks and Bayley for joining her. She praises them for achieving their goal of winning all the gold in WWE, except for NXT. They thank her and says her positive feedback means the world, but because there's a lot of negative hate in the locker room right now, Bayley says they're trying to be role models for girls around the world, like Stephanie's daughters. They keep kissing up to Stephanie, and she finally changes her tune on them some, bringing up some of their bad actions from the summer. Stephanie isn't sure about being role models, but they've definitely got her attention now. They keep sucking up, saying they know what's best for business. Stephanie isn't one to hold a grudge. She's a McMahon. She doesn't want to lecture them, but she does want to challenge them. Stephanie says Banks will defend Raw Women's title at SummerSlam, and it could be against Asuka after the match on Monday's Raw. Stephanie then says Bayley will defend her singles title at SummerSlam against the enemies she's made as of late on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. There will be a triple brand battle royal on next week's show, with the winner facing Bayley at SummerSlam. Stephanie says now that is what's for business. Stephanie music hits and Banks and Bayley argue in the ring. Kayla's backstage with Sonya Deville, Miz and Morrison. Miz and Morrison take shots at heavy machinery again and walk off for tonight's main event. Back for the break, it's time for the main event. Miz and Morrison make their way out. Sonya Deville is with them. Out next is heavy machinery by themselves, Tucker and Otis. Where's the money briefcase? Money in the Bank briefcase. Morrison starts off with Tucker. Morrison strikes with big kicks to start. Tucker comes right back with a slam, grounding Morrison. DeVille cheers Morrison on. Tucker and Morrison go at it, and Tucker levels him with a clothesline. The lights start flicking again as Graves jokes about this being retribution again. Otis tags in, and they double team Morrison. Otis runs over Morrison as the crowd cheers. Morrison counters Otis and tags in Miz. Miz rocks Otis, but Otis takes it and rubs his belly, dancing around. Here's taunting. Otis takes more shots from the Miz. Otis rips off his shirt, just like Hulk Hogan style. He blocks a shot and runs over Miz in the middle of the ring. Tucker tags back in, and they march around. Bushwhacker style. Then they collide against him in between, sandwich him, sending him to the floor to regroup. Tucker leads off the apron with a cannonball, taking down both opponents on the floor. Heavy machinery celebrates as we go to commercial. Hey, they give more, they give the cannonball to Morrison on the floor. Hits the Miz show cannonball on USA Network as well on Thursday. Back and forth, back from the break, and Miz is going at it with Tucker. Morrison comes in for a double team, but Tucker kicks out at 2. As Otis cheers him on, Morrison unloads while Tucker is down. Tucker counters a shot and fights back as Otis distracts Morrison. Morrison keeps fighting and nails a kick to the face. Miz tags back in as the crowd rallies. The hit double team gutbuster. Miz with a DDT for a 2 count. Miz and Morrison both with offense. Morrison with a cheap shot from the apron as referee's distraction. They talk Tucker and Otis. Morrison tags in, but Tucker knocks him off the apron. Then drops down on Miz. Otis rallies for a tag and gets it. Otis comes in and runs wild on both opponents as the crowd cheers. DeVille yells from the ringside. Otis with big power moves on Miz and Morrison as he takes turns on both. Otis runs and splashes Morrison in the corner. Otis readies for the Caterpillar on Morrison as DeVille yells for him to get up. Otis hits it on Morrison, but Miz breaks up the pin at 2 count. Crowd boos that. Tucker charges Miz and Morrison at ringside, but they move and he crashes into plexiglass. Miz drives Otis into the steel ring steps. Mandy Rose, with shorter hair, suddenly appears and attacks DeVille at ringside. Preventing her from interfering, Rose unloads, but DeVille fights back and brings it in the ring. Referee calls for the bell. No contest. After the bell, Rose and DeVille brawl around the ring now. Referee and the 2 tag teams run in to pull them apart. Rose tackles DeVille again and keeps the attack going. They're pulled apart once again. DeVille takes Rose out of midair at one point and tackles her again. Rose and DeVille are finally pulled apart one last time and are taken out of the ring. SmackDown goes to commercial as they try to get into chaos between Rose and DeVille. Back to the break, we see Mandy Rose and Sean DeVille still being kept apart in the backstage area. More technical difficulties from overhead. We go back to Cole and Graves at ringside in the arena. Retribution suddenly appears from behind the plexiglass from the open area, crawls over the guardrail, going through the arena, yelling and screaming. They're destroying stuff with baseball bats, crowbars, and other weapons. The men and women are wearing all black, hoodies, and face masks. One representative tells the camera that this is their house now. We might want to leave and go home. And the voice sounds like Joaquin Wilde. Nobody's got a voice like him. Retribution continues running wild around the arena. Some members are running in and out of the ring. It looks like a camera gets knocked on the ground, or a cameraman gets dropped at ringside. The masked men and women hit the crowd now, attacking the developmental trainees and beating them up. Some of the members return to the ring and continue ranting about how this is theirs now. 2 of the guys go out and tip the SmackDown announce table over. Cole and Graves left a few minutes ago. They take black, red, and blue spray paint, NWO style now, spraying their name and anti-WWE symbols all over plexiglass, the ring, and the ramp. The destruction of the arena continues. One guy brings a chainsaw out, and he ends up cutting the top rope and the second rope down. Starts cutting the ring ropes as the ring is destroyed now. They get a shot at some of the developmental trainees laid out in the crowd still. SmackDown on Fox is off the air with the Retribution standing tall in the ring. As the destruction continues. They could have left that for your SmackDown. SmackDown Underground. Similar to Raw. That way the ropes have been cut off. Then you got the ring there with no ropes. 205 Live results. Signature video opener airs to officially kick off action from the purple brand. As WWE 205 Live, now, as the name says, live on the WWE Network from Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. Of course, it's not live. From there, we shoot inside the arena where everything seems fixed and good to go, despite the insane ending to this week's Friday SmackDown. This all the ring and set gets destroyed. Like I said, it's taped. Vic Joseph and Drew Gulak welcome us to the show, and we're about to get down to action with our first match in the show. So Drew Gulak is announcing. Drew Live now. Ever Rise versus Mikey Spandex and Marquise Carter. Don't know those two guys. Task Force own Mikey Spandex and Marquise Carter have arrived on the purple brand. As the two take on Ever Rise, Chase Parker and Matt Martell in the opening contest on this week's 205 Live. Both teams have made their way into the square circle. The bell has sounded and we're off and running. The duo of Parker and Martell are all over the two local enhancement talents, and this match is being treated like your basic squash match. Wow, that didn't take long. Parker and Martell finish off the local duo for a quick opening victory on this week's Cruiserweight program. Nothing fancy. First win for the duo on 205 Live in several weeks, so good for Parker and Martell. Highlights of Legado del Fantasma on NXT. Joaquin Wilde is a member of this group. So why would he be going to groups? From there, we shoot to the commentary desk where Vic Joseph and Drew Gulak introduce highlight packages from recent action on the WWE NXT that show Legado del Fantasma attacking Breezango in the parking lot a couple of weeks ago, as well as a follow-up promo afterwards. Your main event, Tony Nese versus Danny Burch. The 205 Live is only two matches. After the NXT video package of Legado del Fantasma wraps up, we hear the familiar theme song of the premier athlete, and out comes Tony Nese, stopping by to slap hands with his buddy Drew Gulak at commentary table before entering the ring and getting praise from his pal on commentary for having the best abs in the business. As Nese settles into the ring, we hear the theme of Danny Burch, who makes his way down to the ring with usual tag team partner Oney Lorcan by his side. As he enters the ring and gets ready for action, Lorcan settles in at ringside as well on the floor outside the ring. The bell sounds and Nese and Burch lock up to kick things started. Burch leg sweeps Nese down to the mat and is looking for a leg submission. However, Nese makes it to the ropes and forces a break of the hold. Once back on her feet, Nese is starting to take over the offense. Nese with a nice back elbow and some chops to the chest of Burch. Another leg sweep, and this time from Nese. Burch finds himself on the mat. Joseph asks Gulak on commentary if trying to out-wrestle Burch is a smart game plan for Nese, prompting Gulak to point out his belief that the premier athlete is superb in any facet of the game. Having said that, Burch is taking over the offense now with a headlock takeover and a grounds Nese. On the mat, Burch starts controlling Nese pretty well. Nese works his way back up, but Burch takes him right back down. Nese gets up again, but Burch slaps the headlock on him again. Nese ends up back suplexing his way out of the headlock, and now Nese is controlling Burch with a mat wrestling on the ground. Nese knocks Burch down and executes a beautiful springboard moonsault for a near fall. Burch hangs on, but Nese is still on the offensive driver's seat. He goes to work on the arm of Burch now, focusing on the attack on his limb of his opponent. He takes him down to the mat and continues to cinch up on the arm that he has isolated on Burch. Danny Dollars, Big Shot Collars, as he's called in the back, according to Gulak on commentary. Anyways, starts firing up now and fighting his way back into the match. Burch fights through the pain and uses explosive offense attacks to even the playing field in the ring, as neither man appears to be in clear control of the action. Both guys are trading punches and strikes now. Nese with a fancy kick that finishes off Burch 2 weeks ago that set up a near fall. However, this time Burch manages to kick out before the referee's count of 3. Nese tries following up with the 450 splash off the top rope. However, he misses. While both guys are down, we see Area to Vary attack Oney Lorcan, who is at ringside in Burch's corner. He also attacks some of the officials trying to restrain him and send him to the back. Birch goes out to check on Lorcan, and now we see Nice is out there as well behind him. Nice hesitates but ends up grabbing Birch, who headbutts the premier athlete right in the snout. Birch, who appears fired up by what he just saw happen to his partner, sets Nice up on top rope for the dripping DDT. He covers him and gets him 1, 2, 3 for the pinfall win. And that concludes my results for all 3 events for this week. So if you don't know, brothers and sisters, just call me. Peace out. See you when I meet you.